He slid the termination letter across the glass table like a weapon he'd already cleaned. No witnesses. No warning. Just the hum of the AC and his voice too calm telling me HR had been notified. That I'd stolen from the company. That I should consider myself lucky. They weren't pressing charges. I didn't argue. I didn't plead. I watched his eyes instead. They were relieved. That's how I knew this wasn't a mistake. A month later, he texted, "We need you back urgently." I smiled at the screen and kept breathing. When I first met him, he called me a fixer, said, I had the kind of brain that finds leaks before ships sink. I believed him. I believed in the late nights, the quiet trust, the way he'd nod when I pushed back in meetings. We built systems together, controls, safeguards. I signed off on audits. No one else wanted to read. I thought loyalty was mutual. I thought competence was protection. It never is. The signs came softly. Budget approvals rerouted. Vendor payments split into odd increments. A new consultant with access he shouldn't have. When I asked questions, the room cooled. When I pressed, meetings disappeared from my calendar. Then the accusation landed, sudden, surgical theft. A word that stains everything it touches. HR wouldn't meet my eyes. Legal sent a form letter. My credentials, years of work, collapsed into a single allegation. I went home and did nothing dramatic. I made tea. I sat in the dark. I let the shock burn down to a coal. Then I started planning. I didn't call him. I didn't defend myself publicly. I requested my records. I filed a data access request. I pulled old emails from backups he didn't know I maintained. I reconstructed ledgers the way you rebuild a crime scene, carefully, without emotion. The pattern emerged like a confession written in numbers. Shell vendors, round-tripping, inflated invoices approved by his login, routed through a consultant he'd hired personally. The missing money was real. The thief was not me. I hired an attorney who didn't blink. We ordered a forensic audit, independent, boring, lethal. While it ran, I waited. That was the hardest part. Silence feels like losing. It isn't. His text came on a Friday night. Urgent, system failure. We can't close, need you. I replied once, Monday. 9 a.m. I showed up with a binder and my attorney. Security tried to stop us. HR waved us through like ghosts. He stood when he saw the binder. I let him talk. About misunderstandings. About how things got out of hand. About how HR would clear it up. I placed the audit on the table. Thick, tabbed, annotated. The room changed. I didn't accuse him, I read. Dates, amounts, approval trails. I read the parts where his name appeared so often it felt like a chant. I watched his face lose color in increments. My attorney slid a single page across the table. A summary, clean, final. He laughed once, too loud. Then he stopped. HR asked a question. Legal asked another. He tried to answer and couldn't keep the story straight. I said nothing. The audit spoke. When he realized the allegation against me was documented, email by email, as a preemptive strike, his eyes finally met mine. That was the moment. Not when they suspended him. Not when legal asked him to leave the building. It was when he understood I hadn't come back to be rehired. I'd come back to finish the work. By noon, his access was cut. By evening, an internal investigation was announced. The consultant vanished. The shell vendors were flagged. A week later, my name was cleared, publicly, formally. He resigned before the board vote. It didn't save him. I declined the offer to return. I don't feel triumphant. I feel aligned. He thought silence meant weakness. He thought my restraint was fear. He mistook my professionalism for compliance. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't threaten. I documented. I waited. I arrived prepared. Justice doesn't always shout. Sometimes it walks in quietly, sets a binder on the table, and lets the truth do the damage. I still fix systems. I just don't fix people who try to break me.